Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits. Their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother under the root of a very big fir tree. One morning, old Mrs. Rabbit called her children together. Now, children, you may go into the fields or down the road, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. Mrs. McGregor put him in a pie. The children gasped. Mrs. Rabbit picked up her basket and her umbrella. She gave them all a big smile. Mrs. Rabbit, now run along, children, and don't get into mischief. I am going out. Then she went out the door and walked to the baker's to buy a loaf of brown bread and 5 sweet buns. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail were good little bunnies. They went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter was very naughty. He ran straight to Mr. McGregor's garden and went through the gate. First, he ate some lettuce. Then he munched on carrots. Then he nibbled on radishes. After eating too much, he began to feel rather sick. Just as Peter hopped toward a patch of parsley, he froze. At the end of a cucumber frame, he saw Mr. McGregor. Mr. McGregor had been planting young cabbages, but when he saw Peter, he jumped up. Mr. McGregor, stop, thief! He grabbed a rake and ran after Peter. At last, Peter saw the gate. He ran as fast as he could, squeezed under, and dashed back home. Peter ran and ran, never stopping until he reached the big fir tree. He was so tired that he flopped down on the soft sand inside the rabbit hole. His mother was cooking dinner. She looked at Peter. Peter didn't look very well. His mother put him to bed, made a hot cup of tea, and gave him a spoonful of medicine. Meanwhile, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail were feeling just fine. For supper, they had bread, milk, and blackberries.